They don't see it. Not yet. When they glance your way, they only notice what lies on the surface: a name to label, a face to forget, a number in a crowd. They see what the world conditioned them to see. Someone ordinary, someone unremarkable, average, small, fragile. They box you in with assumptions, measure you by outdated standards, dismiss you with a glance. But what they see is only a shadow of the truth. What they don't see are the nights you've clawed your way through in silence, nights without sleep, without comfort, without a single hand reaching back when you reached out. They don't see the moments when the weight of everything felt unbearable, when your body ached with exhaustion and your mind screamed for peace, and yet you kept moving forward, inch by inch, breath by breath. They don't see the wars you've waged behind your eyes, the invisible battles, the silent screams, the endless negotiations with pain and fear and doubt. They don't hear the voice inside your chest that refuses to be silenced, the one that whispered, "Just one more step," when the rest of you begged to stop. When everything said you can't, that voice rose up and said you will. But you know. You've always known, not in the shallow way people think of knowing, but in a way that lives deep in your bones, deeper than thought, deeper than fear, deeper even than the doubt that once tried to suffocate you. You know what you are. You are power, not loud, not boastful, but forged in fire, tempered by heartbreak, sharpened by every moment you were sure would destroy you but didn't. Every scar, every tear, every setback has shaped you into something unbreakable. You were not made in comfort. You were built in chaos. You were molded by pressure, by grief, by relentless struggle. They think your silence means surrender, that your stillness is stagnation, but they don't realize what you're doing. You're not crumbling. You're not lost. You're not weak. You're waiting. Waiting with purpose. Waiting with patience. Waiting, not because you're unsure, but because you are gathering. Gathering your strength, your will, your fire. Like the calm before the storm, like the inhale before the roar. Because soon you will rise. Not for their approval, not for their recognition, but because it is who you are. Because it's what you were always meant to do. Because the world has yet to witness the full weight of your becoming. And when you do wake up, truly wake up, they won't know what hit them. The world has perfected the quiet erosion of identity. It chips away at truth with a smile, buries your fire beneath polite expectations, and calls it growing up. From the moment you begin to dream, it begins its work wrapping chains around your wildness, painting your edges with fear, whispering sweet lies disguised as wisdom. Be realistic, be grateful, be still. It tells you to conform, to fall in line, to lower your voice and your gaze. It teaches you to shrink, not all at once, but slowly, day by day. You are taught to see your ambition as arrogance, your intensity as too much, your hunger as something to suppress. It tells you to smile through the exhaustion, to celebrate scraps, to say thank you when it offers you far less than what you were born to create. And when you dream out loud, when you dare to reach beyond what they've prepared for you, they call it delusion. They say you're chasing too much, moving too fast, wanting too deeply, as if desire were a crime, as if fire should apologize for burning. But what they don't understand is that the world has always been changed by the unreasonable ones, the misfits, the rebels, the ones who weren't afraid to ask for more and then demanded when asking didn't work. Every empire, every breakthrough, every revolution was born from someone who refused to accept enough as a finish line. These were not people who waited for permission. They were not gentle with boundaries meant to cage them. They didn't fear resistance, they expected it. They didn't bow to the storm, they became it. And that same pulse runs through you. It may be quiet now, buried beneath years of being told to stay small, to play nice, to avoid making others uncomfortable with your shine, but it's there, beneath the hesitation, beneath the practiced smile, beneath the weight of every time you swallowed your power to make yourself easier to love. You were never made for silence. You are not a flicker, you are a blaze. Not a whisper, a war cry. Not a follower, a force. You are what pressure becomes when it refuses to break. You are potential that no longer asks for recognition, only space to move. And once you start, you do not stop. There is no going back to small. No going back to soft. You are past that now. You are the crack in the system. the shift in the tide, the start of something too loud to be ignored. So no, you are not meant to crawl through this life, begging for validation, hoping not to be noticed. You are not here to blend in. You are here to rise, to disrupt, to carve your own place where none existed before. And you will, not in spite of the world, but in defiance of it. Because once you remember who you are fully, fearlessly, the world will have no choice but to remember too. They want you to believe you're late, that somehow, somewhere along the way, you missed your moment. That the doors are closed, the chances have passed, and now you're just chasing shadows of what could have been. They whisper urgency like a curse, wrapping your days in panic and your dreams in doubt. They measure your worth against someone else's timeline and call it ambition, but it's not. It's a trap. They want you anxious, distracted, always comparing, never arriving. They want you exhausted from running a race that was never yours to begin with. But here's something they'll never teach you: something raw, something real. Time is not your enemy. Time is not slipping away. Time bends. It stretches for those who dare to step off the beaten path. It expands for those who move with intention instead of fear, who stop begging for a seat at someone else's table and build their own from splinters and grit. The world rewrites itself in the presence of the relentless. You don't need to rush, you need to rise. And if everything around you is falling apart right now, if it feels like you've been stripped down to nothing, like the walls are crumbling and the ground is splitting beneath your feet, good. That means the facade is finally cracking. That means the version of you that was built to please and perform is finally collapsing under the weight of truth. Because rock bottom isn't your ending. It's your launch point. It's the place where the illusions die and something real begins. This is where you remember. This is where you stop editing yourself to fit their comfort. Where you stop waiting for signs, or applause, or permission. Where you stop asking, "Am I enough?" and start declaring, "I've had enough." You are not lost. You are uncovering. You are not behind. You are becoming. And yes, it hurts. Breaking always does. But in the breaking, there is clarity. In the wreckage, there is room to rebuild, this time, without compromise. Because beneath the hesitation, beneath the years of shrinking and second-guessing, there's a power in you that's been waiting, a voice that's been silenced for too long. A fire that's been smothered by politeness, fear, and the ache to be accepted. But now you're close. Close to the you who doesn't flinch at failure. Close to the you who doesn't shrink for anyone. Close to the moment when everything changes, not because the world gives you a chance, but because you decide to stop waiting for it. You don't need to be chosen. You only need to choose yourself fully, fiercely, finally. And when you do, the world will have no choice but to make space for the storm you've become. You were not made to sit quietly on the sidelines of your own life. You were not put here to simply endure, to go through the motions, check the boxes, mimic what you've seen, and call that living. You were born with something unruly inside you, something raw, untamed, a spark that doesn't fit into tidy narratives or polite routines. It's not about rebellion for the sake of noise, it's about truth. Your truth. There is a force in you that cannot be manufactured, taught, or borrowed. It's something older than fear, something deeper than logic, and it doesn't bloom in the spotlight, it grows in the dark. It reveals itself when you've lost everything you thought you needed and are left only with what's real. That's where your edge is. Not in perfection, but in pressure. Not in comfort, but in confrontation. Not in pretending, but in the relentless return to yourself. Power doesn't always roar when it enters. Sometimes it waits, sometimes it watches, but it never forgets. It collects every slight, every silence, every scar, until the moment it no longer fits inside your chest and has no choice but to break free. And yours has been patient. It has waited while you played it safe, while you swallowed your fire to make others more comfortable. It has waited while you doubted, while you apologized for your strength, while you made yourself smaller just to be seen. But power doesn't wait forever. It grows restless in the quiet. It begins to ache in containment. And now it's done waiting. Every betrayal that shattered your trust, every moment you felt like a ghost in your own life. Every time you were passed over, unheard, unseen, that wasn't the end. That was accumulation. That was kindling. And now the match has been struck. This is not your breakdown, this is ignition. This is not the aftermath, this is the uprising. You are not here to repeat. You are here to rewrite. You are not here to conform. You are here to confront. You are not here to fit in. You are here to take up space, all of it. Because the power in you is not polite. It's not patient anymore. It's not asking. It's arriving. So let the past be fuel. Let the pain be flint. Let the silence be the air that feeds the flame. And now you burn. Not to destroy, but to forge. Not to vanish, but to rise in a form they've never seen before. So here's the truth. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the life you want. And no one owes you an apology for how hard it's been. But you don't need an apology. You don't need a savior. Because you were never powerless. You were just distracted from your own strength. What you need is to remember who you are, what you've survived, what you still carry. You need to remember that when everything goes dark, you light the fire, you break the mold, you become the force that makes the impossible fall to its knees. This is your wake-up call. The world has taken enough from you. Your silence, your doubt, your time. Take it back, all of it. You don't have to be fearless, you just have to move. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to decide that enough is enough, that this life is yours, that every second from this point forward will be on your terms. Because you are more powerful than you think, and it's time the world found out.